Well, we're back with Caitlin, and I was just asking her, with the substantial weight loss she has, is she's feeling better, if her lab work is normalizing, is coming back together, and she said yes, right?
Yeah. I was eating myself to immobility, and now I am completely mobile. I'm not exaggerating. There was a point where I could not walk from my parked car outside my house into the house without rushing to sit down. Now I'm living my life. The quality of my life has changed drastically. And one of the hard things to admit is, at my heaviest weight, my kids' quality of life was being affected.
Of course.
So I'm not only changing my life, I'm changing their life. And I've taken responsibility and ownership, and I'm doing what I have to do to try to get my kids in better health.
Yeah, and it does affect them, because parent is both a verb and a noun.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a parent and you have to parent, and that means you have to be able to get up and move and be with them and take them places and attend their events and that sort of thing. And Jillian, we talked about agency before. She's embedded in a system that's programmed against her. But when you watch a commercial for a fast food franchise, they don't show you much of the food. They show you bright lights and acceptance and smiles, and it's like, hey, come here, everybody's happy, everybody's accepted. It's a con job A to Z, is it not?
Oh my goodness. I mean, they get the world's biggest celebrities to sell you fast food and soda and chips. They've got cartoon characters like Toucan Sam and Captain Crunch, which kind of reminds you of all the cartoon characters that used to sell kids cigarettes. A few other things I wanted to say. You mentioned that your son has autism. 1 in 34 kids now has autism, and it used to be, I think, 1 in 10,000 when I was a child. There are so many different factors here, and I just want to take this off of your plate psychologically, because you are not alone here. This is not your fault. And the reality is that, yes, this system has been rigged against you, and now it is time to do what you're doing and fight back in the ways that you're fighting back. But should you run into obstacles, should you struggle, it's because of the way, literally, I'll say it again, this system is rigged. And I also want to say this to you: lead by example. Get your kids into activities. Control the environment, like Dr. Phil is telling you. I just found out that the reason my teenage daughter, and my son ratted her out, was not having breakfast anymore is because she goes to school and gets the crappy cereal from the cafeteria. And there are things you simply cannot change. And I don't tell you this to make you feel defeated. I tell you this to help you understand that we can dot the I's, we can cross the T's, we can lead by example. But ultimately, there will come a time where our kids will have to make those decisions down the road for themselves. And you can show them how to do that by making those decisions, and you are. So I just want to give you so much props for the changes you're making, and take some of this, what I am perceiving as guilt, off of your plate. And last thing before I give up my moment here, a sick child is not just profitable because of the time these kids will be on medications or be consuming these foods. They've actually managed to influence policy in such a way where medicating a child is more profitable. It's a lower barrier to entry with the medications. The medications are more costly, and they can maintain a monopoly on the medication to keep out generic versions of the medication longer. Just to give you an idea of how insidious and how deep this goes.
Yeah, the thing that you have to understand is you do have choices here, but you've got to be active in making them. Both of your boys eat breakfast and lunch at school?
They do, yes.
What are they likely facing at school still? I mean, this hasn't changed much.
It's a criminal enterprise. The biggest fast food restaurant in the country is federally funded school lunches, and there is no sugar limit and almost no nutrition guidelines for those. I'm really trying to drive for policy change, and I think we're gonna have a transformation in the next couple of years. But when you're talking about breaking the chain, we have a mass addiction crisis in this country when it comes to food. We've been totally bamboozled by that. And it's a serious, serious problem. What we're putting into our body, what we're fueling ourselves with, our metabolic habits when it comes to our sedentary lifestyle, our circadian rhythm and sleep. I mean, these are serious, serious problems. We need to understand that, and we need to break the chain. But that is absolutely what has to happen on a mass societal level. It needs to be all hands on deck. Jillian wasn't wrong when she said this is a societally, destructive, existential threat, which she said in the Senate. She was right.
Yes, absolutely right. No question.
I think it's absolutely essential for us as consumers and for anyone listening who's a physician to come to grips with the idea that we have been lied to about the idea that cholesterol causes heart attacks. That came from the American Heart Association in the 1940s, and it came from the American Heart Association very shortly after they accepted money from Procter & Gamble, like you said, a company that sells seed oils. This cholesterol lie is so powerful because when you take away cholesterol, you take away animal fat. And when you take away animal fat, you take away some of delicious things like butter, like we've talked about, but you also take away something worse, which is traditional cooking. There is no culinary tradition in the entire world that doesn't use animal fats, right? Veganism is not a tradition, it's a kind of a religion or a movement. It's not something that has been with humanity for any period of time. Right. So what we've done is we've disconnected ourselves from the actual real source of nutrition information, which was just people who like to cook, people who raised us, who raised their own children. They wanted to give them the best possible stuff. They wanted to make it taste good because they wanted their children to be healthy. Cholesterol-rich foods are so satiating, and when we scare people away from eating them, we prevent people from getting that natural feeling of like, well, I think I'm done. I can push my plate away now.
All right. Another hurdle Caitlin is up against, she lives with a roommate who has similar food issues. Now, Caitlin's friend Michelle says she ignored her diabetes for so long, it caused her to undergo a full hysterectomy. That's next. Poor sleep impacts productivity, focus, and energy, making it difficult to tackle daily tasks effectively. Tossing and turning through the night leaves many feeling drained and unmotivated. Beam's Dream Powder offers a solution. This science-backed healthy nighttime blend is clinically shown to improve sleep, helping users fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed without grogginess. Dream combines powerful all-natural ingredients like reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin, creating a blend designed for consistent, restful nights. It has become an essential part of nightly routines for those seeking better sleep. The ultimate sleep refresh for the new year. Try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil for up to 40% off.
Healthy food is expensive. If I could afford to keep healthy food in the house, I would. I am a single mom. I work full time. I get paid bi-weekly, and people are like, oh, paycheck to paycheck. I live paycheck to a few days before paycheck. My issue is, this is like 2 for $10, and this is like $12.99 for 1. It's a struggle. Like, I would love to feed my kids and myself healthy meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks. It's expensive.
Well, we've been talking with Caitlin. Now, her roommate, Michelle, is also here. Now, they've been best friends for 25 years and are living together to save money while raising their sons. Michelle is on her own weight loss journey, but she and her son are also victims of the chronic illness epidemic.
Growing up, I never really had a healthy relationship with food, and I'm still to this day struggling with some serious health issues because of it. My heaviest weight was 225 pounds. I was definitely scared that I was gonna be overweight forever. You get to a point in your life where you feel like this is it. Growing up in my household, It wasn't always the healthiest food choices. We ate a lot of processed, unhealthy foods. 22 years old is when I had gotten to my heaviest, but I really just didn't care. I thought that I was invincible. I didn't know that at 36 years old, I would be severely diabetic. I am so thankful to have my son. That boy is my saving grace. He saved my life in so many ways, and I'm so thankful for him. I want to provide my son with a safe and healthy environment. I don't want him growing up, ending up with diabetes, having the same complications that I do. That's the last thing that I want for him as a mom. In the last 2 years, I've lost 35 pounds, and it's really changed my outlook on life. I'm more willing to be that active mom and show him a healthy lifestyle. As a country, I don't think the resources to healthy food and learning about healthy food are really there. It's difficult for people to provide that for their families.
Well, I'm glad you're here. You guys have said that it's expensive to eat healthy
Yes, sir.
and that it's quicker and less expensive sometimes to just pull through and pick up a hamburger or something at McDonald's.
Convenience, for sure.
Yeah.
Convenience is key. Yeah.
But it's not less expensive
It's, at this point, not anymore, not really.
because the percentage of the cost of a fast food hamburger or any restaurant that you go to, you can make what you're buying at home for less than half of what you're spending, and you can do it with your kids there.
This is breaking it down per the meal, but I can't go to the store and buy enough lettuce just for one burger. So if you do the totals for what I need to make that meal is going to cost me a lot more in ingredients than it is to just go get that burger.
Oh, no. No, the difference gets bigger when you don't just buy for one.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make 3 or 4, if you've got 4 people there or 5 people there, then the difference gets bigger and bigger.
But I am
about-
low income. I have $5.99 to get my son a cheeseburger. I don't have $50 to go buy all of those ingredients.
You don't need $50 every single day. You have to plan and buy ahead of time. Make no mistake, you're paying for a lot of things that are not the food that you're getting. I reject your argument wholly, no matter how much everybody's clapping for what you're saying. I reject that out of hand. You cannot buy fast food cheaper than you can make it at home. You absolutely cannot do it.
What it comes down to, it is the word you already said, planning. But we do not get taught these skills. And if you had to go through bariatric surgery, you probably met with a dietitian. Mm-hmm. Did that dietitian sit down with you and say, let's create a weekly planning, here's how you do it, and here's how you're gonna afford it? What's your budget? Did that happen? And I know this is a rhetorical question, because I know the answer is no. All of my other patients have said, no, I've never heard anything like this, but this is exactly what I need. And normally we would watch this. This gets back to modeling behaviors. We would watch what our parents did and just copy it. But our parents, that wasn't part of the lifestyle. It wasn't that important. It wasn't the priority. And so generation by generation, these skills that are vital skills have fallen by the wayside. And this is the world's #1 problem, is people don't know how to eat.
$36 trillion. That is the U.S. debt, and it gets deeper and deeper by the day. Our debt has never been higher, nor have the stakes. The government is looking to slash the federal budget by $2 trillion, and no one knows what that will mean for your job, savings, and future. I've seen a lot in my time, and there's one thing I know for sure. You need to prepare before it's too late. I trust Preserve Gold to help protect my wealth, and I strongly urge you to do the same. They are the only precious metals firm I trust and recommend to my family, friends, and audience, and they have a special offer just for you. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue throughout 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 today. At a fast food place, what percentage of that $6 did they spend on the meat?
Probably, just pennies. Ground beef is actually one of the best deals in the grocery store.
Yeah, it's about 12%.
Wow.
It's about 12% of ingredients. The rest of it you're paying for the person that cooked it, the person that sacked it, the person that gave it to you, the utilities in the building, the taxes on the building, all of that. It's very expensive to buy fast food.
It is, because we're paying for the convenience.
Yeah, let's acknowledge it is really hard to be healthy in this country. We need to take matters into our own hands. It's the first thing we could do, Dr. Phil. Doctors should say how big of a serious crisis this is and how vital it is to plan at home, how vital it is to actually understand that we can afford healthy food and not to poison ourselves for less than fast food, and tell patients, tell us the truth, that actually it is inconvenient, but we need to do it. Doctors don't mince words when it comes to taking pharmaceutical products, right? They know how to be very clear. When your child is at the pediatrician's office and you need to get your shots and take your pills, they're very clear, and there's no mincing words about that. We need to get the same tone from our pediatricians about the necessity of reforming what we're feeding our children. That could change behavior overnight. And then, of course, just hearing this conversation, we should all be outraged and appalled at the incentives in our country that are steering hundreds of billions of dollars to this crap.
And you guys are winning. Think about those that aren't. Think about yourself at almost 600 pounds. You're winning, and you're still fighting an uphill battle. And you're winning.
I am.
I mean, both of you guys are
I still
winning.
have a long way to go. I am still very much overweight. I am still considered morbidly obese, but I am down 200 pounds, and I did that.
So, I mean, you're winning.
That's great.
I mean, give yourself credit. You're winning, and go to the next level and figure out, how can I win now financially? How can I win now with planning? You got to continue to fight back. But think about where you were before. At 600 pounds, it looks like you could never get anywhere, right? And now a third of a whole person is gone.
I've lost over an average size adult.
Yeah, exactly.